I'm Tuomas Pöysti, Chancellor of Justice of Finland, the supreme guardian of the law and the head of the National Ombud institution in Finland. I'm many times asked in Finland, and also by the colleagues abroad, what does it take to be a successful constitutional oversight institution? Like any Ombud institution, our main tool is legal reasoning and persuasion, with the moral authority, our competence, and diligent application of the law, and the recommendations we issue on the basis of that will provide us. Ultimately, of course, we have some important powers, access to information without any hindrance, and we can give public reprimands. We can even prosecute officials, and we can even initiate impeachment proceedings against the ministers. But mainly we issue recommendations on rectifying problems, recommendations on compensation, and also we have right of legislative changes or legislative initiative. But what is the most important is that we act with impartiality, objectivity, and in a non-political, but yet very courageous way. We have increasingly, in recent years, worked on structural issues, meaning this kind of organization or information systems or cultural issues which are preventing good administration to realize in concrete cases, or which would prevent a balanced realization of rights or access to courts. But this does not mean that we would only focus on these kind of structural issues, because an individual with a problem with the public administration should be helped with. We have two recent examples how we have managed to work on structural issues. We had a visit of the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, special representative on human trafficking, who commented Finland's anti-trafficking structures and called us, the Finland, to enhance our child victim identification. But she also recommended of our work carried by my Deputy Chancellor of Justice on the victim's identification and how the legal system can provide assistance. This investigation of ours started from a complaint, an individual complaint, combined with media reports by investigative journalists. We did, within the limits of our very different roles in society with these investigative journalists, and also information provided by a non-governmental organization providing support for victims was very important. Then we made a rather big sample of individual cases. We carried a profile inquiry. We issued on the basis of that recommendations, both on structural issues, how the police could improve their identification of victims and support for the victims, even initiated some legislative changes. But also we brought the attention to vulnerabilities in the police, and on some cases we initiated prosecution for criminal failures and criminal negligence on the side of the justice system. In the long run, we have been also following up this remedial action, because in a bigger problems it's not a one-stop solution. And that required a combination of information from multiple sources, and in particular persistence, and using all the tools which are available to an ombuds institution. But with these tools and persistence, we have at least contributed to some positive changes. We have worked in a similar way on the issues related to the use of automatic decision-making and artificial intelligence. On the basis of an individual complaint, we have reviewed the structures and procedures and the software systems which are used by the Social Security institution, and also a healthcare system called Own Health, which is a self-diagnosis and a kind of preclinical solution provided to general population in Finland, which is utilizing AI. That work required us to dive into a domain which is difficult for the lawyers, but still remains that with the skills of a good and clear-headed administrative lawyer, you can do quite some deal to ensure that these systems are reliable, trustful, and work in accordance with the principles of good administration. So that's the way in which we have managed to do some positive impact to Finnish society, even in rather complex circumstances.